A pretty productive week last week, against the Alabama schools. I thought we played extremely well against South Al across the board. I think you can see us growing as a team, getting better both offensively and defensively. And it carried over into the Troy game. I know we have different lineups that are doing different things, but I think that's the key to to be successful is those kids have to be available for us. And I think we're getting back healthy and having the opportunity to play different lineups really helped, especially on the road. We get ready to go on the road again to UTA and Texas State, which is an extremely hard place to play. I think we have an education game, actually, against UTA, 11 o'clock game, so that'll be pretty tough. But and they really, the Benson sisters, they have a couple of transfers that are really good and can present some problems. But and then Texas State is always difficult to play at. So it'll be a tough road games, but we're ready to try to go. Questions?
What flavor ice cream did you have? What flavor ice cream did you have?
Well, we ended up, and the story goes that the kids wanted it the night before, and we were taking phones away early, and they were really mad at me. So I promised, I said, you get a win, we'll give you ice cream, and that's kind of why it was. I wasn't going in the game. I wasn't going into the locker room after the game and trying to analyze what just happened. So we just decided to kind of surprise them again and talk about the ice cream, and it really worked out really well. But I didn't really have any. We stopped at a McDonald's in Mobile, and all the kids had all their ice cream and stuff, so it was great.
I'm sure this. Go ahead. I'm sure this is not the first time in your career you said we need to make free throws, but obviously, recently you've had an emphasis. Why? I mean, y'all are shooting them at a pretty high rate. Why all of a sudden the emphasis seems to have worked?
I think the last couple of years with Brandy Williams being one of the top free throw shooters in the country and getting a lot of free throws, I started, to look reevaluate what we were doing as a team and started to look at who was getting the most free throws, and seemed like it was her and Ty. And, with Ty Doucette not making them, her percentages were down. I think it was like 50%. I started to try to focus on the kids that weren't making them and how do we get them to get better. And I think it's confidence. I think shooting is all about, I can have all the confidence in the world, about a kid shooting, but it's not about me, it's about them. And so we've really been focusing on making them. Instead of, I used to make them shoot 100 or make them shoot a certain amount. Now it's make. You have to, when you go out after practice, like we're going to do it tomorrow, they'll have to make 100 free throws away from practice, and what they do is, I love technology. They'll text me how many it took to make 100 free throws. I think that's been a big plus because they're able to work on their own and see them go in and get some confidence.
And it's really made all the difference.
And especially on the road, Kev, I think, at home too, but on the road, you make free throws. I know the last 4 years missing free throws, there's some games that we could have easily won that we didn't because, we missed 10 or 12. We did it this year at the beginning of the year. We missed 12 free throws or 13 free throws against Sam Houston, and that was an easy, winnable game if we would have made free throws. So, and I think that was the start of it. I said we need to try to focus on that a little bit more, and by making free throws, I think it's going to be huge, especially on the road.
Talk about how confident this team is going on the road and winning, not only against some of the teams, but against top, some of the teams at control.
Yeah, I think first of all, our assistant coaches have done a great job of having a great game plan, but they're starting to believe, when a kid believes in what the system's all about and they can see some results, I think it helps to them to focus on what we do best. And I think that's the thing about this year's team with more experience. And I think they can see some of the results that are happening that they're going to continue, like today. And we did a little shoot around this morning, and you can just tell that they're really believing in what we're trying to do as a team. We don't really have one individual that can take over a game. It takes the whole team, and I think they're starting to believe in that system and what we're doing, not only on the defensive side, but we're getting better on the offensive side.
On that note, you guys talked about last season how winning's a process. So what's been the difference this year? How have they learned that process better and how to execute, finalize, and find a way to win games?
I think in any kind of sport, when you're comfortable, you look at LSU and their quarterback and Joe Burrows. Look how confident this guy is, and I think that's what I know. It's a different level sometimes. You may think it's a different level, but it's a sport that you have to have confidence in. Basketball, if you're confident in yourself and you feel comfortable in what we're doing. Last year we were so uncomfortable. We were 21 to 22 turnovers a game, and now we've brought that down to 12 or 13. It's still, we try to get it in single digits, but that's because we're more comfortable in the type of system we have, the chemistry. We do a lot of chemistry builders in practice, and I think those things are helping them to be more comfortable. I got to give a lot of credit to my assistant coaches and putting them in good position to feel more comfortable. I think that's the biggest thing is, you had freshmen last year. Our two best players were out last year. I think that was a tough situation when you have your point guard out and your best defensive player, and both systems aren't working quite as good because you're so inexperienced. And the blessing of last year was those freshmen got a lot of playing time, and now they're more comfortable.
Is a pro or a con?
Well, no, I'll tell you after next week. I think Texas State and UTA is a difficult place to play, and they're a really good team. So, I think it'll be tough. I like the fact of playing at home early on because there's so many factors in that. I think our kids are more comfortable at home. I think you have a better opportunity to win at home, and then. You start to lose. You lose a lot of fans. I don't care what sport it is. At the beginning of this conference, if people give up easy. I'm not one to give up, and so we would keep fighting through it. But man, it's nice to have fans excited about what we're doing now. And if we could get on the road and get a couple more wins, this would be a statement of that. Hey, this program's moving forward in the direction it was moving in 15 and 16.
So just to put in perspective, and you may not look at it quite that way, but that win you got Saturday is the biggest win in how long? 3 years, 4 years? Since maybe beating Arkansas State, really good. It was the best win in your opinions in how long?
I think when we beat Little Rock in the tournament, when we beat Little Rock in the tournament to go into the tournament finals in 17, I thought that was a big win, because it gave us an opportunity to get in the finals, which we hadn't been since we had been here, and hopefully to get in the NCAA tournament. I know we'll end up losing to Troy, but we've had some pretty big wins, I thought the Tulane win years ago when we first took over was pretty big, and then on down the line, But it made it a big win because we just couldn't win at Troy. It wasn't so much about Troy. It was just we just couldn't win there. They hadn't won since '06, and that's a long time. And I think we're 4-6 away from Troy against them, and we've had some big wins against Troy in the tournament. I think for this team, they needed to see that they could change it. I think that's the biggest thing. It's like, can we change the fact that we can't, beat Troy over there, and not just over here. So I think it's a big win. It's a big win for this season for sure.
Coach, other than putting the emphasis on making free throws, obviously that's a big deal. What else have you guys been kind of working on to get better based upon the opponents that you're going to be facing coming up?
Well, and not just the opponents, but we miss a lot of layups too, man. I think just women's basketball in general, if you watch games, there's a lot of putbacks and a lot of missed layups that are in the game. And that's what we were working on today, a lot of that. We're focusing on that. And on the defensive side, we've noticed the last couple of times, on the defensive side, trying to keep the ball out the middle. That's one of our things that we really focus on in our closeouts, closing out with hands against Georgia Southern. I think we were going out and closing out on them, but without any hands and contesting shots and stuff. So we've kind of really focused a lot on that lately. And, I got to give Coach Deacon a lot of credit rebounding, man. Troy was averaging like 54, 55 rebounds a game, over 20 offensive rebounds a game. And we went into the game saying, hey, we got to keep it close. We knew it would be difficult to out-rebound them. And it was 47-41. And that's the closest we've been in a while to the rebound. And most of it hurts us is the offensive rebound. And I think the biggest thing for me is I got to get out there earlier. I usually, when we're on the road, I go sit out and watch the other team kind of shoot. And I was noticing they didn't shoot it that well. And I always took I've been coaching against Shanda Rigsby forever. And I say they shoot it to go get it. And I was always, with this team, I was wrong. So going into the locker room right after that, I said, we got to approach this game like every time they shoot the ball, they're going to miss. If we have that attitude, every time the ball is shot, every time they shoot, it's going to be a miss, and we get the rebound. And I don't know if that was a factor or not, but we did rebound the ball a lot better.
Have you ever seen a player, in terms of Kimberly Burton shooting, where it was when she got here, improve so dramatically in one area of a game in your coaching career?
Never. And I always considered myself and Danny Broussard. Danny thinks he's the shot doctor. I think I am, and changing people's shot and making it better. And usually it's just a little bit. We had to rebuild it. I mean, it was from scratch. And, she just couldn't control she couldn't control the ball. I mean, when she would shoot it, I was just like, it would kind of scratch my head, and I didn't know if it would ever come. I mean, I'm watching her today, and she's so much under control. I mean, she didn't miss shots today, and she's so confident in what she's doing. But, when she was out last year, instead of just she didn't sit out. She worked out. And I think that's the biggest thing that Kim, and it brings a lot to our team, because now here you have the hardest worker, and we're seeing a lot of results from her. But by far, she's a kid that I can't believe she can shoot like she does now. Coach Amber Gregg had a lot to do with her, kind of taking her from scratch and rebuilding it and stuff. So, and I watched it from kind of from the sideline, kind of correcting a little bit of things. But she's worked extremely hard, and most improved shooter I've ever been around, definitely.